to fail to win. You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right. You learn nothing from winning. You only learn from your failures. Warren Buffett said he won't even invest in a person's business unless they failed in 2 other businesses. Because now you know what not to do. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing, man. I've overcome so many failures. I've failed more times than I've succeeded. That's, I tell you the truth, man. Listen to me, man. You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you. What you did back there ain't got nothing to do with what God got for you. What you did back there was learn the lessons to get you to where you are at this particular moment right here. But what God got for you, do you know, man, that you can actually mess your life completely up? You can jack it all the way up and you can turn around and get it right. Do you understand that? Do you understand that you could have had a baby out of wedlock and still be all right? Do you know that you can be divorced multiple times and still be okay? Do you understand that you cannot have a degree and still be just fine? You want to know how I know? Because I'm telling you what I know. I lost everything twice. I don't know if you've ever lost everything before, but I've been bottomed out twice. I done seen rock bottom 2 times. I've been through some walls up in here, man. I'm just trying to tell you, man.
Isn't it funny how really everybody can think you're better than you are, stronger than you are? Oh, you know, when you're good at what you do, people use you, almost abuse you, which is really a compliment because they can count on you. They don't think that you're human. Oh, Mary's just always nice. Oh, Frida's just always good at her job. Oh, Pastor so-and-so just always, he's just amazing. He's amazing. Our pastor just amazing. Well, they see you on Mount Carmel. Nobody knows about your juniper trees and your caves. Nobody sees your secret places of frustration but God. And he's up under the juniper tree. And I think, you know, sometimes I think you ought to take a moment and just thank God that he gives you privacy with your pain. A luxury you will not have if you continue to succeed, I might add. Because the benchmark of when you really go mainstream, the hardest thing to have is privacy with your pain. So while you're fighting to be discovered and fighting to be exposed, be careful. Because once that light hits you, it don't just show your Carmel, your Mount Carmel. It shines right up under your juniper tree and right into your cave and into your kids' caves. Be careful what you ask for, you might get it. And God says to him, he's in the cave, you know, and he's backed up in the cave. And I thought that God would speak to him and say, I'm going to kill Jezebel, because that's what I would want God to say to me. And, you know, I'm going to kill her and let the dogs eat up her bones. He later does that. But just, you know, it just makes you feel good when you get that kind of word from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Where God's really going to kill your enemy that just, you know, I got some issues. Pray for me. Intercede. You know, I don't want God to like anybody I don't like. Just kill them. Just wipe them up. Put an Amalek on their head. Just destroy them. Lock them out. It is finished. Kill every last one of them jokers. Hallelujah. Let me preach the funeral. You stand over everybody and say, he wasn't nothing. He's a bum and a liar. He fought me all over. You know. Have you ever felt like that at least once about someone? You know. I mean, you got over it, but maybe you did. It's a work in process.
You'll be able to do things you never thought you could do. You'll be able to handle things you never thought you could handle. You'll have ideas that you've never had before. All of this is sparked by the goal-setting process. When you know what you want, and you want it badly enough, the answers will come to you. I can't tell you why it works. All I know is, it works. Give yourself a chance to become all you can become, and to accomplish all you can accomplish. Let me give you a Bible philosophy that teaches how to get whatever you want. Here's what it says. Ask. That's it. Ask. Of all the important skills to learn in life, be sure to include the skill of asking. What does ask mean? Ask means, what do you want? And the complete formula is staggering. It says ask and you will receive. Hey, we ought to look into that. The man says, yes, but you work where I work. By the time you struggle home, it's late. You've got to get a bite to eat, watch a little TV, and get to bed. You can't sit up half the night and ask. And this guy is behind on his bills. He's a good worker, hard worker, sincere, but you've got to do better than work hard and be sincere all of your life. You'll wind up broke and embarrassed. You've got to be better than a good worker. You've got to be a good asker. Let me give you some key points on this asking and receiving, setting goals, asking of life. Here's part of the philosophy that helped me to change. First, asking starts the receiving process. Asking is like pushing a button. and all this machinery starts working, mental and emotional machinery. I don't even know how it works, but I do know it works. There are a lot of things you don't need to know how they work. Just work them. Some people are always studying the roots. Others are picking the fruit. It all depends on what end of it you want in on. So asking is the beginning of receiving. Second, receiving is not the problem. You don't have to work on receiving. It's automatic. So if receiving is not the problem, what is the problem? It's failing to ask. The man says, I see it now. I got up every day this year and hit it hard, but nowhere in my house is there a list of what I want from my life. Can you see? Good worker, poor asker. Third, receiving is like the ocean. There's plenty, especially in this country. It's like an ocean here. Here, success is not in short supply. It isn't rationed, so that when you step up to the window, it's all gone. No. Well, if that's true, what is the problem? Well, the problem is some people go to the ocean with a teaspoon. Have you got the picture? A teaspoon. What I suggest you do in view of the size of the ocean is trade your teaspoon for at least a bucket, and you will look better at the ocean with a bucket. Kids won't make fun of you. Now, here's something else to remember about asking. There are two ways to ask. One is ask with intelligence. It didn't say ask intelligently, but I'm sure it meant that. Don't mumble. You won't get anything by mumbling. Be clear, be specific. Intelligent asking means how high, how long, how much, when. What size? What model? What color? Describe what you want. Define it. Remember, well-defined goals are like magnets. The better you define them, the stronger they pull. And give your goals purpose. Answer both questions. What do I want? That's the object. And the second question, what for? That's purpose. Purpose is stronger than object. What you want is powerful and it will pull, but what you want it for is more powerful. Here's the second way to ask. Ask with faith. Faith is the childish part. It means believe you can get what you want like a child, not an adult. Many adults are too skeptical. They've lost that wonderful childlike faith and trust. Don't let that happen to you. Believe in, have faith in yourself and your goals. And get excited like a child. Childlike enthusiasm. Nothing can beat it. Kids think they can do anything. How exciting. They hate to go to bed at night and can't wait to get up in the morning. Develop that kind of enthusiasm toward your life and your goals. And be curious like a child. Kids can ask 1,000 questions. Just when you think they're finished, they come up with 1,000 more. They'll drive you to the brink. But it's really a virtue. Have plenty of curiosity. Ask questions. That's how you learn. Another fringe benefit of setting goals is what it does for your ability to manage your time effectively. This is no small thing. We'll look at time management in detail in a later session, but now, while we're talking about goals, I'd like to share a few ways your use of time are affected by or influence the achievement of your goals. Have you ever thought that without some very clear written goals, you never even need to consider managing your time? Time essentials come from objectives well defined. Time can't be critical if objectives aren't defined. Now you might be one of those uniquely fortunate individuals who can keep all their objectives and purposes clearly defined in their minds and operate from that. But I wouldn't take the chance. Write your goals down and set careful priorities. Sometimes priorities are determined by the season. For a farmer in springtime, the season dictates his most important activities. During the spring, a farmer must work around the clock, burn the midnight oil, and keep the equipment running because he has only this small window of time for the planting of his crops. One of the difficulties of living in an industrialized society is the losing of the sense of seasons. When to pour it on, when to ease back, when to take advantage. It's easy to keep going from 9 to 5, year in and year out, and lose a natural sense of priorities and appropriate time. Don't let one year just blend into the next. Keep an eye on your own seasons, lest you lose track of values and substance. Part of setting priorities is learning to separate major activities from minor activities. This is a whole skill in itself, but once you have learned it, it will pay dividends you won't believe. So learn to put everything on your mental scales to be carefully weighed before you spend time or money. And here's a good question to constantly ask. Is this a major or a minor? By asking that question, you will reduce the amazingly natural tendency to spend major time on minor things. In sales training, we are taught that major time is the time spent in the presence of the prospect, while minor time is the time spent on the way to the prospect. If you're not careful, you will spend more time on the way to than in the presence of. So in sales, we teach, don't go across town till you've gone across the street. Wouldn't it be wise to make an evaluation if you're in sales and ask, how much time am I spending in the presence of, and how much time on the way to?
We have a tendency to think that a new date and a new year and a new decade ensures a new you. But the reality is, it is not the ticking of a clock that brings about the transformative power. It is not as though God waited on a particular day and said, if you make it past this date to a new calendar date, I swear I'm going to bless you. No, it's not that simple. The truth of the matter is, change does not come easy. Change does not come easy. Now, this is going to be tough to hear because it is antithetical to what you are used to hearing. You're used to hearing spin around 3 times and God's going to break it. 5 ways to have a great marriage and 3 ways to start your life over, and eat this and you'll drop 100 pounds, and take this pill and you'll be back able to get into the dress you wore to the prom. But the truth of the matter is, a day of not eating at Wendy's doesn't constitute a diet, and you're not going to be transformed easily or quickly.
It's very hard, and you have to challenge yourself to discipline your mind, to just focus on what are the most important things that you need to do right now in the midst of it. Number 1, to fortify yourself mentally and emotionally, to develop a level of mental resilience, because there's so many unexpected things every day. And when you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, many people are having mental breakdowns. Domestic violence has increased 40%. Suicide rate is up. And so it shows a state of mind that many people are facing as a result of the coronavirus. So focusing one's mind. We can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on.
Those who study trends in corporate America suggest that in order to change, not the building, you can change the building quickly, not the name, you can change the name legally and quite proficiently, but to change the culture of an organization is quite difficult. The invisible aesthetics and accoutrements that go along with an entity is difficult to change. Most experts suggest that 1 to 3 years at a minimum to change the culture of an organization. You can change the wallpaper. Changing the culture of a marriage is not easy. I have been doing marital counseling for 43 years, and let me tell you something. By the time you see most couples, the culture of the marriage is so baked in that nobody will listen at anybody because everybody on both sides think they are right. And yet they come for change and they walk away without change, because change doesn't come because you come to my office. Change doesn't come because you took a diet pill. Change doesn't come because you lifted up a barbell for a week. Change doesn't come because you hired a new CEO. Change doesn't come because you changed the name of the entity. Change doesn't come because you dyed your gray hair blonde. Change doesn't come because you shave your head off and put on a earring. Real substantive change that changes you at the core is difficult to attain.
If nothing ever prevented you from being the best version of yourself, nobody told you you were limited, you had never failed at anything, and you know you wouldn't fail going forward, what would you dream? How big would your dreams be?
I know a couple things about New Year's Day, and I know a couple things about the new year. One is it's going to go real fast. Number 2 is it's a new chance, a new beginning. So I would encourage you today to set aside a few minutes, look at your life, make a couple of New Year's promises and resolutions to yourself, ones that have high ideals, ones that'll make you better, and start this new beginning, this fresh start today on the right foot.
Gratitude in advance is the most powerful and creative force in the universe. As you move into the new year, you pick one word to focus on, with your family, with business, as you navigate throughout life. And my one word moving into 2021 is gratitude, right? Like the quote reads, be grateful for all things because all things have contributed to your advancement. Therefore, all things should be included in your gratitude, right? Wins and losses, opposition, adversity, challenges, right? Stages and phases, right? And blessings. And for most of us, 2020, it was a year of pain. It was a year of people look back on it like, man, I can't find nothing to be grateful for. But the ability to learn is a gift, even when pain is our teacher, right? And as we move into 2021, I think the thing that we must always be cognizant of is painful endings always lead to new beginnings.
Don't allow the pull to pull you down. And where you just give up and let go and give up on your dream and your hope and your position and your posture and all of the things that God has done into your life, and you fall into the abyss of your base nature and let it just drive you further and further down. Who knows how far down gravity will pull you if Earth were not in the way? How far down is down? We don't know. All we know is that there is a law that by nature pulls us down. We have to fight to think up, to live up, to pray up, to walk up, to do the right thing, to forgive people, to be balanced, to discipline ourselves. It's an ongoing battle. But the battle is a blessing. I want you to understand, I want to encourage somebody that's in the fight right now, that the fact that you're in the fight is a sign that you've been changed because you didn't used to fight it.
I've been thinking about gratitude lately and why it's such an important, powerful state of awareness. When you have gratitude, you are holding on to a particular sort of awareness. It's a powerful and transformative awareness. And what's more is that you don't have to do anything to get it. You don't have to buy it or work for it. You just have to live it. I like something John F. Kennedy said once about gratitude. He said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter the words, but to live by them. But how do you do that? How do you live a life of gratitude when you are too busy trying to live? I have enough sense to be grateful when the big things happen. When the growth they found and took 6 days to test wasn't cancer after all. I have enough sense to be grateful when my bonus was a lot more than I thought it would be. The big things make us pause and reflect. Then we say, whew, thank goodness. But you forget about the small things. You forget how to live in gratitude for the small things. You forget about your warm house. Or if your house isn't warm, you forget about the fact that you have a roof over your head. And if you don't have a roof over your head, you forget about the fact that your heart is still beating. Forget about the people who make you laugh and who make you feel validated or loved. You know, hearing myself say that these aren't really small things. They are things you take for granted so they become small and you stop noticing them.
But some of us have lulled our desire to change to sleep, and we are satisfied just to be stabilized. And when you are around people who see success merely as stability, it is quite frustrating because they resist the propensity to change, and they will fight you off if you try to change because they think survival is success. But the reality is, I'm the kind of person is I don't want to soak up sunshine, drink water, and breathe air and stay the same way I was at 40 that I was at 20. I want to learn something. I want to grow somewhere. I want to increase in some area of my life. I want to be able to have quantifiable results that are proof to the fact that all the hell that I went through gave me a dividend of some sort, that it accrued some interest, that it meant something. The things that I suffered, that they propelled propelled me somewhere, that they catapulted me to the next level. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the fact that I'm 62 and time becomes more important when you have less of it. I resist people who waste my time. Yes, I resist you. I resist you. I resist you. I make war with you. I come against you. Waste my money than waste my time. I can get some more money, but I can't get some more time. Do not waste my time.
But again, how do you live a life of gratitude? Maybe the question isn't how, but why? Why live a life of gratitude? I think the answer has to do with selfishness. See, I don't mean selfish with a small s. That's when you care about yourself at the expense of everyone else. No, I mean selfish with a big S. That's when you care about yourself so deeply that your care extends to everyone else. Put yourself first. Give yourself an advantage. How do you feel? If I said you could feel revivified and empowered, you would want more of it. Remember, you're being selfish. So if I said you could feel more connected and more compassionate, you would want more of it. You want more of it because gratitude is another expression of love. How do you feel when you are grateful? You feel like you are not going through life alone. You feel as though someone or somebody is with you. You feel connected to something other than you. You feel cared about. And when you feel cared about, you care about. Don't just think about it. Be about it. Gratitude isn't just about thank you. It's not the word. It's not just about feeling. Gratitude is about living the feeling. Live the life of gratitude.
You will fail your way to greatness. Most people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. When you're willing to fail again and again and again, when you make up your mind to become unstoppable, when you make up your mind to become a no matter what person, then that will then give birth to a part of yourself that you don't know right now.
Imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed, standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents given to you by life, and that you, for whatever reason, you never went after that dream. You never acted on those ideas. You never used those talents. You never used those gifts. And there they are standing around your bed looking at you with large angry eyes saying, we came to you and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. See, most people stop short of their dreams and park and get off the highway of life because of the rejections of life. You will always be rejected. It's no big deal. Jack Canfield said rejection is a myth. It's not. When somebody says no and then they slap you. No, it's just, to me, make no your vitamin. Get excited about the no. Why? Because every time someone says no, that brings you another step to a yes. You're getting closer. Trust me, you will win if you don't quit. You will win if you don't quit. Even a broke clock is right twice a day. As you go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender. You have something that you brought to the universe, and that if you decide that my life deserves my developing this what I do well, and becoming the best at it, and mastering myself, and seeing what I have within me, if you decide to drop your buckets where you are and develop your gifts, I grant you, you'll never ever be without. I grant you that your gifts will take you places that will literally amaze you. I grant you that if you begin to work to develop your gifts, you'll develop a strong sense of happiness. You'll get a larger vision of yourself, because part of beginning to get a larger vision of yourself, all of us need some area of our lives where we can have a feeling of competence. That people know when they think about this area, that's something you do. That you eat and sleep that. And that you do that. You do that.
Changing is not easy, but changing your life, changing habits, reinventing yourself, picking yourself up after life has knocked you flat on your back. I've got to say, when life knocked you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Well, that sounds cute, but that's not easy. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer 17 years ago, that first time that happened, I said, hey, I can handle this. Then when it came back a year later, last year, 17 years later, this time, it metastasized to 7 areas of my body and ate 40% of my T1 vertebrae. Now the stakes are higher. It was just life saying, okay, Mr. Motivator, you beat cancer the first time. What you do now? I started laughing. When the doctor told me, he said, why are you laughing? Are you in denial? I said, no. I said, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you would have so much confidence in me. I said, the stakes are higher. So I've got to dig in and I've got to fight now. Because at the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for it, you don't want to automatically. It's a fight, it's a challenge in life every day. And what we have to do is embrace it. What we have to do is see it as a project we worked on. In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. And so I see even cancer as a gift, as a God-ordained opportunity.
If you died today, what dreams, what ideas, what talents, what books, what music, what leadership, what voice will die with you? There are a lot of people who are biting their fingers. That they might lose their jobs. But there are few people who have decided within themselves, I'm going to make it. Some people aren't waiting to be cut. Some people are moving on their own because they feel within themselves, I've got what it takes to make it. They're not afraid about tomorrow because of how they see themselves, because of what they feel that they deserve, because of what they feel that they can create for themselves. Because these people have decided, as they look at the future, as they look at themselves, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way for me to begin to create a way out of no way. And when you have that kind of consciousness, when you have that kind of spirit, nothing can stop you. Nothing.
There's no secret to success. There's a system to success. And no matter what organization you become a part of, the system works if you work. If you don't work it, it won't work. But it works if you work it. And that's one 4-letter word that most they're not willing.
There are winners, there are losers, and there are people who have not discovered how to win. And all they need is some coaching. All they need is some help and assistance, just a little support. All they need is some insight or a different strategy, a plan of action to make some adjustments that will open up the key to a whole new future for them, that will give them access to the unlimited power that they have within themselves. That's all that they need. So what I want you to do is think about something you want for you, that's real for you, that's important for you, that will give your life some special meaning and power. And I don't even want you to say, I can do that. I don't want you to assume that. See, 5 years ago when I started out in this area, I would not have been able to make the mental leap that I would be up to where I am right now. I don't want you to begin to just psych yourself out. No. I want you to be able to say something to yourself that will enable you to maintain a level of integrity with yourself. That when you say this, even when you face tremendous setbacks, it will be a benchmark to keep you in the game, to keep you moving forward and experimenting and readjusting your strategy and your plan of action, continuously looking for ways to win.
I think we have to reflect on who am I? Why am I here? What drives me? If I died today, what 3 words would I want?